Hey guys, welcome back to the podcast. Today we sit and we speak with Isaac McFarland, a local artist to the Shreveport-Bossier area. In today's episode, we sit and we speak about not following the safe route. Here at Revision Marketing Group, our team of young professionals get it. Created with youth in mind, we strive to educate, inspire, and promote authentic creativity across all job fields. This is Young Creatives. Hey guys, welcome back to the podcast today. You have me, Christian from the Revision team, and then one of my close friends, Isaac McFarland. I think today's conversation is going to be one that a lot of people will be interested in. I'm excited for the content, so we'll get started. How are you today?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm good. You had a busy morning.
Just got in from Charlotte's, the sewing class.
Yeah, so how was that?
It's amazing. I was able to make my workwear pants and my workwear jacket. We'll definitely get a good start. So really just got to go home and learn what I was working on.
Okay, so you make stuff, like you make clothes or stuff. So
Creator.
Just getting straight into it, like who is Isaac McFarland?
For sure. A creative. He's a creative. I am the black farmer. I was raised taking care of Black Angus cattle, and then it kind of transferred into pigs and chickens and gardening and trying to, like feed people and stuff like that. But other than that, the wolf of fashion. Mm-hmm. I'm just a 24-year-old black male from Keithville, Louisiana.
That's funny because earlier Michaela said, "Where's Isaac from?" And I said, "Well, he wouldn't say Shreveport. He'd say Keithville." But
I would definitely say Keithville because I'm not from Shreveport.
So you said that like your upbringing has pretty much influenced the person that you've become. Mm-hmm. Anybody specific that you would say?
No, of course. My McFarland. Yeah. I would speak on McFarland. I would speak on so meaning my people, my mom, my parents, my siblings, Adam, Daniel, Hope, mm-hmm. and my dad as well. But then also I can also say that just my grandmother, just like the people around me, I care for, mm-hmm. and it just has become a keep the family close type of, I would say, bond, mm-hmm. type of like contract.
Not contract. Okay.
It is a contract though.
Yeah. Okay. So with that, the Wolf of Fashion, is that what you're saying?
Wolf of Fashion. That was I seen the Wolf. What's the movie called?
Wolf of Wall Street.
The Wolf of Wall Street. I seen that while I was at Morehouse, and I got like, oh, this is fine. You know what I mean?
gotta like put my own spin on it.
I literally changed my Instagram, and that was my first like starting to like go into fashion. Like people on campus knew me as the Wolf of Fashion.
Really?
And yeah, people definitely it was a time. It was a time.
That was an era. Okay.
Yeah, that was an era.
So have you always been a creative?
I can say that I was able to understand how to categorize different parts of being a creative because everybody is creative in their own way, whether it be how you pick your clothes when you get up or just certain things that you do. But just because of that, I was just able with time to like fully understand what a creative, like what it means to be a creative. Like basically you might have to live off of being a creative in that like idea or your ideas. So it just became, I just had to understand more about it. But I am a creative. I didn't always like identify as a creative. Like I'm very creative and stuff like that as we do now. But back then, I was always different. Like I always liked different, like even what I noticed was in clothes, I would just pick like different options than what everybody else would pick. Or like people like just Justin, you know what I mean? Just growing up in school, everybody like is trying to like, find something to make fun of, mm-hmm. But it'd be like, in reality, I just picked different choices than what other people would wear. So yeah, I could say that's when I really like, I would say high school is when I really found out like my passion and I'm a creative for clothes because 8th grade through growing up, I was at a private school. Mm-hmm. So at the private school, I couldn't just, like I had a very specific uniform. But, after then I was able to learn about putting certain pieces together like every single day. Mm-hmm. And so then that's whenever I would start to say that that's when I realized that
there's something
that's
here.
what a creative is, basically.
Yeah. So outside of like fashion, is there anything, any other creative outlets that you have?
Definitely. Music. I grew up playing the violin and piano, classically violin since the 4th grade, piano since the 2nd. So those are always still there, like super heavy. If I choose to actually practice those instruments or not. Facts. But at the same time, clothes, just part of like running a business, a clothing business is having to deal with video work and stuff like that. So just seeing like different ideas of like where the clothes, because the clothes, if you ask any certain designers, they come from a place and like a whole like visual background that kind of sets the setting and set like where you would see these clothes. So basically just anything that has to do with fashion and production, we can keep it there.
Stay right there.
We can keep it there.
So you didn't like say modeling, which I feel like you're very humble when it comes to that.
Thanks.
So how did you get into that? Just going down that road?
Instagram.
Like really, you use the right hashtags or?
That's a good question. I'm almost positive I was using some form of hashtags back then. I mean, Instagram is an archive, so I definitely can scroll back and look at what I was doing back then. But at a certain point, it was just those. I was again like the Wolf of Fashion. The Wolf of Fashion was a certain point in time before I was the Black Farmer.
Yeah.
So what was happening was the Black Farmer was like me realizing in a time and a space like, yo, you're like a real farmer, you're country, but you're also a Black male. You're at a whole school with Black males. So it's like starting to having certain conversations. It's like, oh, okay, like this is actually kind of different than what I thought it was, honestly. So then while I was branding myself as the Black Farmer, taking pictures on the farm with cows, with the pigs, then I started learning with the Black Farmer, and that's where the actual marketing content of branding myself in that space or in the world was basically these learning videos of where I would teach people about different facts about cows, different facts about chickens, different facts about pigs, and just farm life in general.
Okay, so I wouldn't say that it like came as an accident, but it it was
actually very
divinely
planned out. It was very divinely. I ran into my sis Nala, and that's basically kind of what she does is like helping people understand like branding. And we had a convo, and she was like, this sounds like something. And then we got into the Black Farmer, and then it was like, yo, this is what you want to do. Basically, you need to get a Black Farmer collection. You need to do these other things. That was putting together the ideas and kind of helped me. So shout out to Nala for sure. Shout out. But it was very divine how it happened though, for sure.
So a collection, she told you to put together a collection.
So basically she gave me the certain ideas. Because again, like, and this is a point, a lot of creatives have like the initial idea, or you like to do something, but you as a business and being like to run something as a business, you have to put it in a certain type of like system so that like again, like before, if I just said I'm the Black Farmer, but I didn't change my Instagram name to that, if I didn't get on Instagram and start making videos on learning with the Black Farmer, you know what I mean? It's just certain things that have to be done that are a part of like branding, marketing, and a part of like owning a business.
It has to align.
It has to be very systematic and organized. It has to be organized.
Okay.
That's what I'm trying to say. Like I can have a business, but it not be organized, and it's just going to look different, basically.
Okay.
Because when you're trying to work with like corporate brands and brands that want decks, they want like it has to be very like, hey, here's what I am, here's what I'm about, and it has to be clean, and those brands kind of go after those people that know those things. So
would you say that like you're like, I don't want to use the word anal, but like anal when it comes to like the content or the content that you like post or the
good question.
Like just any type of like creativity or just any type of design that you have, like are you anal about that process or like?
I'm definitely very specific on what I like, or I would say that I tried to be in the past, and I still am very specific on the type of content that I'm creating. But at a certain point, it's kind of like you have to let the idea, like creative aspects, and people like be themselves. So you can't force somebody into a box into seeing something of a certain way. Now you might need to like communicate like, hey, I see this going like this. Can we try to, you know what I mean?
Right.
But at a certain point, you have to let creative people be creative people. And that's something that you can't teach somebody. Like if somebody is just very interested, you know what I mean, in wanting that, just you give them one idea, they bring back 5. That's somebody that you can't teach. Like you can't teach that in certain people. That's just innate. Like they saw that and was like, yo, I came here, then I ran over there, then I saw this. You know what I mean? It's just certain things can't be taught. So I would say yes, very specific, but just I've learned just with time, just let the creative process go and just guard it. You know what I'm saying? Like guard it and make sure it's Gucci, but you can't, you know what I'm saying?
So like you said that you can't teach, like you can give somebody like one idea and they come back with 5. And then
Sure.
you said earlier that pretty much everybody's a creative. So you think that some people are just naturally more creative than others? Is that
Some people choose to act within their
creativity?
their creativity. Because you gotta understand too, some people are willing to go hungry behind their creative thought process. You know what I mean? Because a lot of times it's a thought process or it's an idea. It's something that somebody came up with and they were able to, like, that's what I'm saying. And this goes back to the earlier point. Some of us have like a creative idea and we keep it that. Certain people figure out how to make that creative idea a reality. When you like make something that's an idea a reality, it's kind of like you're willing to stand behind that. You know what I mean? A lot of people are. And that goes back into like, yeah, like some people are willing to stand behind their creativity while others are willing to not stand so far. You know what I mean? We know people that
they follow
stopped.
more of like the safe route, or
Exactly.
they follow more of the safe route. I feel
Following
like,
the safe
or
route.
not following the safe route
Facts.
is really what this conversation is supposed to be about.
Dropping the 9 to 5
Not dropping it, like
and following the safe route is the type of creatives that I'm talking about. Are
okay,
back to our last point.
yeah. So
Facts.
we spoke about the modeling, and then you spoke about the like whole process of. Did you talk about how you make clothes? I think you touched on that.
I touched on it.
Okay, so like, can you like go into detail about that?
What
So what
my
type
design
of
process or what type of clothes do I make? Stuff like
everything?
That? Got you. I Isaac McFarland.
Right.
Right. I make workwear clothes. Workwear clothes are for farmers. They're for people that work just any type of labor intensive type of jobs. That's the genre that the clothes would follow under. But I've just noticed that workwear, such as brands like Carhartt and Dickies and Wrangler, all those type of brands have Levi's as well, have all integrated into being everyday wear. Like Wrangler, Levi's,
Most definitely. Yeah.
people wear are household names. They're, you know what I mean, but they're denim companies that branded and at one point like to carry themselves as some point of a workwear company for the people that are working, such as farmers, such as there's a type of pant that I have on called carpenter pants. That's all that a certain Carhartt was basically branding to a certain type of genre. So I make workwear clothes.
And that's what you have on now?
That's what I have on now. This is the second. This is 2 of 2. I mean, 1 of 2, sorry.
So what makes workwear different from...
Good question. It's really just the quality of the material. Honestly, like this denim is like really, really heavy. So it's more durable, and you're basically able to get more out of your wear, as well as just be comfortable, be warm, be cozy taste. So that's one side of the clothing.
Yeah.
Then the other side is McFarland merchandise, and that's my merchandise line with
Which
McFarland.
you're also wearing.
Of course.
With the Mardi Gras themed colors.
Mardi Gras themed colors. Facts. March 1st is when we're celebrating.
Yeah.
Mardi Gras, everybody. But again, though, it's just the merchandise. Again, how did I know that let's go back to your previous question. How did I know what I was supposed to be doing? Like, what just seemed like natural? I grew up on a farm. Carhartt was a top brand that my family was wearing, and workwear clothing is a genre that's not touched on, or if it is touched on, it's not touched on from a Black perspective. And that was when it just hit me, like, you're the Black perspective. You know what I mean? In that field, in that genre, because when I go in those rooms, my brother, Daniel, shout out to Daniel, Adam, Hope, and my parents, my dad and my mom, and myself, 8 times out of 10 have been the only Black people that were in the cow show spaces that were showing cattle. So it just was like, I'm not saying that we're the only Black people that are doing it, don't get me wrong.
Right.
But when I was growing up, I'm 24, and we would go from state to state to state to state to state to state.
It was just very few.
It was us. It was my family.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, there was one other, that's what I'm saying, like, I can remember the people because it's a huge competition. It's a lot of, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's the same people. They take the same cows. They travel from state to state to the cows. You know what I mean? We know the people. Like, we've been doing this for we've had a farm for 30 years. Facts.
Yeah.
So it's like, we've been in the industry for 30 years and been around those people. So So again, we just so that's more so to us. We're seeing those perspectives, or that perspective of how, hey, but there's a certain type of gatekeeping when it comes to, in that industry of workwear fashion, of the perspective of who's getting the opportunity to show and give their story out. But shout out to the recent brands, because those have been the brands that have been trying to integrate and tell the stories of Black farmers and Black...
what recent brands?
Wrangler. Facts. Let me shout them out. Facts. Wrangler. Carhartt. I definitely have seen Carhartt do something. They haven't reached out, but not yet. So let's send this to Carhartt.
Okay.
So shout out to Carhartt. Trying to collab. And Wrangler, Boot Barn, those two for sure, and Levi's.
And you've done something with Boot Barn?
Boot Barn and Wrangler.
So what'd you do with them?
For Boot Barn, they highlighted my family story. They came to the farm the second time, and my dad and all of my brothers, because they just are the people that wanted to be in it.
Yeah.
We were on the farm washing cattle, brushing them, getting them
like
ready.
Everyday stuff.
The everyday hustle and bustle facts of what we do on the farm, but they were just getting that story, that perspective in Shepler Clothes. It's a clothing brand, so shout out to Shepler. But basically, they were just getting that story piece to be able to, share to the world and share this story to the world. And so that's what happened with Boot Barn. The first shoot, the same thing. They were just helping. We were actually in a magazine that they put together, and it was a lot of diverse people from a lot of different backgrounds and groups and et cetera. So they just help, again, tell that story, tell our story and how we got started and things like that. After that, the Wrangler as well, I've DM'd them. They were very open and have been very open to telling Black stories as well, from all different backgrounds, from rodeo to somebody that does cow showing to horses, to horse wranglers and everything else. So that's just kind of what I mean, because in that industry of the Western industry, we are a minority, so it's just part of just that appreciation that I feel from somebody that is in the industry, that feels like, hey, the large corporations and brands that everybody around us in those fields buy from, we love those brands, and for them to show that love back, for anybody to show love back, you know what I mean? Honestly, it'd be, you know what I mean? It's a great feeling. So it's just that appreciation. So thank y'all to those brands, people.
No, yeah.
It really is making a change in an industry that has very little change.
And the funny part, not even funny, but it's interesting because I'm not country. I say that all the time, but I'm just not. But so it's not even, my family is, but I'm not very much city or as city as you can be from Shreveport. But it's not even something that I think about. So I feel like that's another thing, like, because it's not really thought about by the majority of, I guess, Black people. It's not even looked at as an issue. But I guess it is. Not even I guess it is.
And also too, these are the people that are making sure that there's food on the table. You know what I mean? Like these are the people that are raising the animals that go into production, that are in the supermarkets, that are like in just raising vegetables, raising corn, sugarcane, all these different crops and different type of food placements, or foods that again that these people are yeah, right. But those people are forgot about, and it's kind of, like, hey,
it's 2022.
2022.
Yeah.
The lockdown has showed us a lot too about having to like rely on food or certain products and stuff like that, and essential care workers and stuff like that. Like the people that were forgotten or were kind of like are starting to should be cared for more. So
yeah. So what was that like being highlighted in such like with such big brands? Is like, what's that experience? Because I feel like that's not an experience that everyday person gets.
First, it is a blessing. And that's what is like, it's like having to understand that this is a blessing. You know what I mean? Like that's where I like to first come from. So thank God, because like you said, like a lot of people don't have those. I know like signed models that work every day on like modeling in that field. And a lot of them haven't even had the opportunity to be on
brands that big.
Brands that, or placements, like, brands that big, or even like placements of like where they go. Is it on a billboard? Where's the billboard? How many people are seeing it and passing it? It's like, it's something that, again, that I still haven't really had the opportunity to even like internalize and fully be able to explain to you, but it's an amazing feeling. And honestly,
wait, you've been on billboards?
Yes. Times Square.
Really? You've been in Times Square?
Times
That's
Square
huge.
for American Eagle. And then
did you see it? Like, did you go to Times Square?
I didn't see it in person.
Who do you know that saw it? Do you know anyone that?
I was getting videos. So I'm saying people there. That I think that's how I knew about it. Or no, I think American Eagle. I think they posted it, and so I knew it was there, stuff like that. But no, there was definitely people that were just people that were living in New York that I knew from Morehouse filming. Yeah. They'll go like, "Oh, bro, I just take a video," and I'm like, "Wow." You know what I mean? I had somebody. Shout out to Angel. Huge. She was in Dubai. Yeah. She's walking like in the whatever. And there's an American Eagle store. And on the poster on the outside of the store was this huge poster. I'm like,
it was you?
We in Dubai.
That's cool.
Yeah, no.
That's cool is not even the word. That's
It was international. So that's why it was kind of like.
So you're a big deal. You wouldn't say you are.
No, I'm not a big deal. Don't do that.
You're a big deal.
But again, though, that was like my second. That was like my first campaign, my first real campaign. Like that's my first real campaign. So that's what I'm saying. It's just something that I can't really put in words. It's just a blessing to even have the experience. And God definitely was working on the whole thing because it all started American Eagle from a DM. To go back to our previous point, I was on Instagram. I was making content. They DM'd me. Were like, "Hey, we like your work." And again, I didn't even believe it at first. It was the account with the check, you know what I mean? But I just didn't believe it because it was like,
it's me and it's American Eagle.
And the way that they were like typing to it seemed like a little scarish, you know what I mean? Respectfully. Yeah. But then, I DM'd them back and they said, "Here's our email us." So they moved it out, you know what I mean, of the DM thread real quick. And then before I knew it, they wanted to highlight the story. So yeah, it just was God. Just everything was happening just how God wanted to.
How did your family respond to that? Like when you were like, they trying to come to the farm, like.
For sure. No, well, they only came to the farm for the Wrangler shoot.
But how did your family respond to all of this?
Oh, all of it?
Just in general.
In general, they're very supportive. I know that because I am the baby of the family. I'm the baby, right? I'm also the more creative one, the more creative, artistic one in a sense of on a daily, like I started the McFarland brand and they're McFarland. Mm-hmm. You get what I'm saying? So in a part of a sense, it's like they don't necessarily, I would agree, or I would say see it from my point of view. Yeah. Obviously, but I'm also the one that created a brand behind the family and a lot of other things. Yeah. So I would just say that. What's the question?
Your family.
How do they feel about
with all
this going on?
Yeah.
They are having to, because it was kind of like something that when your brother, your son is on a billboard in New York, or is Angel sent a picture, you're in Dubai, you're kind of having to be forced to see it and have to acknowledge it. So they definitely went to that American Eagle store, shout out to mom and dad, and got that poster out the store and said, hey, just when you're finished and you're about to throw it away, we need that poster for the crib.
That is so sweet. Where is it?
So shout out. It's in the crib.
Just hanging up?
It's in the crib. No. It's actually still rolled up because I don't want to put tape and just put it up and then take it down and then move it, take the tape off, whatever. So it's in a really just chilling. We're chilling.
That's really cool.
We're not putting it up though, but we chilling though. But we still have that, and that's what I mean. It's like for somebody to go and do that. That's what I mean. It's something that they didn't have to do, but yet they obviously care enough to go and hassle somebody for a sign, a poster. So that is one example. But again, no, they're having to being forced to being to have to recognize what's going on. So they're very supportive. They've been trying to help me in any way that I can with it. So I feel, but they're very happy. And they actually, in conversation, they're always saying somebody like, Isaac's the model, you know what I mean? And it's just funny because it's like, that's all,
They're so proud.
They're so proud to tell people that, like, yeah, he's modeled for American Eagle. We did Poop Farm, we did Wrangler.
Like most parents. So what about your siblings? Like what's been like their outlook on all of this?
Sorry, that's who I was actually talking about. Those are
your siblings
are the first people to tell people like what I'm doing, that I've modeled for these brands and stuff like that. Because again, like they don't, even some of them don't know people that have modeled for such companies like that or with those exact companies. Sorry. So at a certain point, it's a good feeling to be able to accomplish things with them because they're there every single step. So when it was the first brand, I'm sending them the screenshot of the email, you know what I mean? And then we get on a call, they're screaming, like, you know what I mean? So it's like, I also believe you can't really expect people to fully understand what you're going through because you're going through it.
Right.
So, but from what you express and what you share and people's reactions, they're definitely on it. But again, it's also hard to, as an artist, just another tidbit out there. As an artist, I've realized too, it's hard for people to understand, like, not the feeling of what you're going through, but what you're going through. Because you might be struggling, right? Let's say you own a business and you're struggling.
Right.
Those people as family members are expecting something from you or out of you just as their family member, just to make sure that you're okay as a person. So just because of that, it's a conflict. It's a conflict because sometimes what you're saying, like what you're actually manifesting, might not be the reality of what the situation looks like from somebody outside looking in. So because of that, you're saying, oh no, 5 + 5 is 10, and this is the reason why it's 10. Everything's gonna work out. You're not worried, but you're having to like live in these conditions and wait for 5 + 5 to actually equal 10. And the people from the outside are seeing that, like, yo, like, what's up? You know what I mean? You good? Like, is everything really good? And it's like, yeah, like this is what's going on. You're having to re-explain yourself. But again, what you're saying hasn't happened yet. So it's just hard for people to fully believe you sometimes until they see it. And then they're like, oh, wow, 5 + 5 does equal 10. So you are good. You weren't tripping when you were thinking this. So that's also a part of it too. It's like sometimes you got to prove your own people wrong about what you see, but that's life though. You know what I mean?
And not giving up on yourself, because I feel like it's so easy as a creative to just say, it's not working. I've been waiting. Because it's like, how long is too long to be waiting for this breakthrough? Like
that goes back to how bad do you want it? Yeah. And how bad are you like able to listen to people tell you their opinion and you just like not take it personal?
Yeah.
Yes.
The unsolicited opinion.
That nobody asked for. We didn't ask for your help, bro. I was just letting you know what I got going on.
Yeah.
But again, though, but when people do that, 7 times out of 10, they do it out of love. So that's why too, it's like I can't be mad because somebody loved me so much that they were just trying to give me their opinion on how they thought my situation could go.
Right.
Even though they don't really, not everybody has the answer for your situation. That's a fact. You just have to believe that God gave you the answer and that you are standing on the right thing. And when you believe that you're standing on the right thing, I say, stand 10 toes and just be patient because our timing is not God's timing. Mm-hmm. So even though we believe that, so how long is too long? I would say God, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's somewhere in God's timing.
Yeah. So leading into that, so you went to school at Morehouse for 4 years.
Yep, I was there for 4. Thanks.
But you didn't finish at Morehouse.
I didn't.
So what's that backstory?
My oldest brother, Adam, shout out Adam, AMAC, he went to Morehouse, graduated 2010, and he showed me just certain of that lifestyle of what it means to be a student of Morehouse and what it means to graduate from Morehouse College. And just because of that, I just got a certain amount of like reverence and like respect for the school and what it brings and the people, because it's a hub that is thriving in this world where we need Black individuals to step up.
The Morehouse man.
The Morehouse and Spelman women. Shout out Spelman. And Clarkite Lantern. For sure. But just because of that, that's just something that I just feel like coming from Shreveport, whatever, that I needed to experience. So I went to Morehouse 2015 and I was playing, just basically was adjusting and finding out that Atlanta's a lot more fun than Shreveport. Of course. So I was definitely outside, but those times of me being outside is what really helped me to see and learn a lot of things.
Right.
Like, there's just certain different experiences at Morehouse where like some people don't like to be outside. Mm-hmm. So you're the only people that you're meeting are the people in your classes, you ran into, just like in your close being on campus. But when you actually are chilling people off campus and you're learning, just different things, just a different learning. It's about life and how people grew up and things like that and different struggles, right? So I can say that again, that's what I can really accredit to Morehouse, was just learning a lot about myself, a lot about others, and a lot about what it means to move in certain, just around a lot of different people that are coming from a lot of different backgrounds, et cetera. And from that, I basically, again, I didn't finish at Morehouse. I transferred to Louisiana College, and then I transferred and finished at Southern University in Shreveport.
With?
Business marketing, business management.
Okay. And so, was it like a humbling experience, like saying, I'm not going to finish here? Or what was that? Good
question.
What was that feeling? Because again, you said you had a brother that finished. And so
for sure.
What was going through your mind when you decided that I'm not going to because I feel like so many people would stay just to stay because of the fear of looking like I couldn't do it, or I didn't, or
true.
What was that? What was going on in your mind or during that time?
I guess I should have not had felt some type of, I think I should have felt some form of that, right? Mm-hmm. In a sense of, but I just knew, and I know me, I knew freshman year when I was the wolf of fashion. It was something in me that was like, yo, you got to get out this. You got to go into fashion. Mm-hmm. That's what you like to do. And that's what you need to do. Right? For numerous reasons that didn't happen. Certain people wanted me to stay. I stayed. And that was the result. Not saying that I shouldn't have done what I should have done, but I don't believe in doing things. I believe there's a way to do things. So I believe I should have done that situation different, right? In numerous ways, because that's money lost and, you know what I mean? There's money lost.
Right.
Definitely just money lost. That's the only thing I would, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I would say, yeah, it definitely should have been done in a different way, but in the sense of, I wasn't affected by that. I'm sorry. I don't know what to say. So I never felt I felt some form of you're here, you wasted money in some form because you're not going to get the education. So I felt the remorse of that, like some form of like, yo, like, but then I couldn't just stay there and like, all right, I feel bad about no, it's like I had to keep pushing so I could actually make whatever's supposed to be going on happen.
So you're big on like
I had to keep it pushing, but I definitely learned from it, and that's more so like I tried to make it something to learn from. Don't be in this type of situation, or if you're in such a type of situation. But I don't believe Morehouse was the school I was supposed to go to academically. So it's like I don't think if I would have done a business marketing major, even if I would have, I don't know. It's a good question.
So L's aren't like losses, they're lessons.
They're definitely lessons. No, facts. Okay. L's are definitely lessons, and that's what that was. Because I don't know how to even like chunk it up and make it sound any differently. It's kind of like what's gonna work and what's gonna happen is gonna happen. Now, mind you, you have to learn from those lessons so that it is actually a lesson.
Right.
And not just all L.
That's true.
But for sure, you have to learn from the lesson. And that's what I feel like I did from that lesson. And there's good that came out of that lesson that it kind of was like, yeah, but I have things to actually show for during this time of things that I did. Like I wouldn't have been modeling if I didn't go there. I wouldn't have been able to brand myself in a certain way if I didn't experience certain people and certain, you know what I mean? So it's like, I just see a full picture. It's like, I can't even really start to feel bad about anything because if I wasn't in certain places doing certain things at certain times, then I wouldn't be here today.
So you got what you needed.
Definitely got what I needed without knowing what I needed.
Yeah.
Wow. Thanks.
Okay. That was good, Isaac.
Thanks.
Let's see.
But you got to know your situation though. That's another thing. Like while I was there, I was I was in class. This is how I knew. I was in class looking at Vogue Fashion Week, like the actual live Fashion Week where they're walking down the runway. And you know what I mean?
So you were just in class, like a body?
Not all of them, not like every single class, but I can remember being in certain classes and during certain time, that's what I was on. You know what I mean? So it was like I knew what I wanted to do. Leaving, I didn't fully see how, but I knew kind of what I wanted to do. And I learned that while I was in Atlanta, while I was on campus. Like I was on campus, you know what I mean? So if I wasn't on campus, who knows, honestly. So yeah, so I just was able to peep that situation and was like, okay, I need to start to close. I need to do.
So you're big on betting on yourself?
Very big on betting on myself. If you don't believe in you, but then again, in the right ways. Like, if I was betting on myself to pass certain classes, that would be the wrong bet.
Okay.
Facts. Because I'm not putting in certain work or the information is not sticking. I'm not doing like this, like it is my passion. Like if I was treating certain things like it was my passion, then yeah, I'm going to bet on myself. But if I'm just trying to bet on myself just to bet on myself because it sounds good or it's going to look good, then no, I'm not.
So you're into like realistically betting on yourself.
But that's also pushing yourself. So how realistic is it, Because sometimes you're saying, hey, in this amount of time, I can do this, 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 and that. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you don't do this, this, and that. Other things happen, and now you're in a whole different space. But no, I definitely believe in betting yourself on what you, basically on the things that you just choose to believe in. Like you kind of have to stand behind them enough that if this goes left, I'm going to learn something from it. I'm going to be in a different position so that in a month, 2 months, 3 months, just whenever that ends, you will at least have learned something that you can pivot off of and go that way because you were there, you figure that out. It's all about just figuring things out. Like it's really a puzzle. It's really, that's how I see it. It's a puzzle and you can't really get caught up in one part too long. Mm-hmm. You just got to keep it pushing.
But where does the motivation come from to just keep going?
That's a good question. No, I think it comes from the kids. Like my kids, I don't have no kids, but it comes from my kids. Like my kids have to get this.
Your future children.
Yeah, my future children. Facts. Now I don't got no kids. I have no kids. Facts. Not until we're married. Facts.
Yeah.
just because the kids got to get the clothes, the kids got to get the workwear, the kids got to get you know what I mean? Like the farm, kids got to have this basically. And two, I kind of feel indebted that the same way that I grew up and the same things that I had, I want my kids to be able to experience like in their own way. You know what I mean? So like a farm. I want my kids to have a very strong connection with the farm. Because I just realized, and I don't know, people try and tell me like, oh, you grew up on a farm, like you must have a different, like, you know what I mean? Like interaction with nature and stuff like that. And I've never really seen it like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's how I was raised. But it's funny because when I think about it, it's like I don't act like a lot of people. You know what I'm saying? Like just the way that I naturally act is very different. So I guess, you know what I mean, in some ways that did have something to play on how I, you know?
Yeah.
But that same type of like connection, you know what I mean, with nature and things like that, I guess I can, like with dirt and stuff like that, I guess my connection is just different because I've been outside with dirty animals. Like they live in the dirt.
Yeah.
Facts. So it's just kind of like, but again, that's something that I've, you know, everybody's different, you know, don't get on people, don't get on me.
No. You were getting on yourself.
No. But
that was all you.
I forget the question, but
Motivation.
Yeah, my kids have to have that same connection with the dirty animals and stuff like that. So that's where I was going with that.
Okay.
Facts. So I like to say that and that again, that to push myself so that again I can be in the position that my kids just won't have to. They can be in a similar position or a better position that I was in. Facts. Whether it be like I want my kids to get my business as soon as they're like able to understand. You know what I'm saying? Like as soon as they're able to walk, what color choice you like? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like this is the colorway. Pick 3 colors that you feel like, and then I might critique them like, yo, like I don't think this one goes. But I feel like that's how it kind of has to be. Like you got to teach, you got to like
molding them.
And if they don't want to do it, they're gonna be in a position that they can pay. Like you can go get a designer. That person's gonna pick all the choices that you need. You just need to make sure that this happens, and make sure it sells. And you can do whatever you want. Type. That's what I want to do. Is like it just looks a little different. Basically, just teaching them about businesses as soon as I can. Because literally, I didn't in understanding what it is. Because I grew up on a farm business and didn't understand like this is a farm business. Like you go outside and you take care of animals, but that animal has a purpose. In 3 months, it's going to be sold. That money, do this. And it's just having a fully understanding, but from a business aspect, not a routine aspect. Like a routine aspect is just, you know how something runs. From a business aspect, I'm saying like, yes, you know how it runs, but this is what it costs. This is what it takes. You might have to go work this job to do this, but you just understand what
like the fundamentals of. Okay.
Facts.
So I'm trying to like wrap it up, but there's just so many good questions. So what is some, I guess, advice that you would give someone that feels like they don't have support or they're looking for support, but they just don't really see it. They're not seeing the support that they wish they had.
Are you doing things different to find support? Because some people, I believe, are like people help them with who they are as people. Like some people are just stronger with other people than they are with themselves. Or not in a sad way, but they're just really good with like doing a lot better when they're with a group
Other
of people, or
people,
people that they feel comfortable around or supportive, quote unquote, people. But I would question that person also to think like, is it really something internal? Because, you know, like if you can't find support, it's different if you're trying to like scale something and that type of support. Because that support sometimes comes from like a community, like a group of people, stuff like that. But if you're trying to like find support for people to support you in your creative like fashion business and stuff like that, you're just gonna have to stick it out sometimes and just have to, because a lot of things just comes with like, sadly in this world, I realize if I make a hoodie that people like and it's cool, it's whatever, if I just walk around with it, somebody's gonna ask me about it, right?
Right.
if I post it and one person sees it, or I keep posting and more people just see it, somebody's gonna comment on that, and out of that comment could be somebody that is supporting you. So I think a lot of times is you just having to focus, and this is just, I don't know if this is with support, but it's how I feel in life. Is you just have to focus on what you're doing, and when you really truly focus on what you're doing, and you're actively outside promoting it, or you're actively outside sharing it or telling people about it or finding ways to market it or whatever, somebody is going to support you.
Yeah.
Because it's like how there's a billion people on the earth. Never mind, I'm not going to say that one. I'm going to say how there's like a billion people on the earth and there's a million different men and women. But sometimes when finding like your person, it's just you being just outside and you just going through and living life. And eventually you're going to stumble across a person that's for you. It's kind of like the same thing. Like
when it comes
there's
to
so many different like possibilities and things that can happen. You just have to just be outside and put yourself in positions where you're going to be around creative people or people that feel like can support you. Like, because support can come from a friend. It can come from anybody. You know what I mean? Like I met CP, and CP is like one of my best friends. Okay, in a sense, because I just ran into CP, and CP and I connect on a lot of things that have to do with how we think. And I think that has somewhat to do in some type of artist sense, is that you don't have to actively look for, like, things happen very genuine. That's all I'm saying. Things happen very genuinely. The way you find support is you be genuine.
That's true. I think a lot of the times people get caught up in like the support they're not getting instead of like focusing in on like the people that truly like rock with them or support them.
And you can't expect people to just support you just because you do something, because a lot of times that's going to come out of ego. Like you might feel like something's really good, but everybody else might not really think that. So you can't be mad because the people around you aren't rocking with you or making you feel some type of way, because it's not their job. Mm-hmm. It's not, you know what I mean? Like it might feel good, right, to get on a billboard and be in that space and everybody supporting you, but you shouldn't be feeling like somebody has to say congratulations or this looks good, because it's not people's job. Like that's an ego thing.
Yeah.
It's really an ego thing.
Okay, so what's next for you, Isaac?
I was actually talking
for the brand, for you as a person.
For sure. I was talking to one of my brothers today and this morning, and basically, I'm gonna focus on Q1. Like, there's gonna be 4 different quarters in this year, and we're already started Q1. So I'm gonna say what's up next with the brand for the next 2 months till March is workwear. I'm gonna be making workwear. My goal is every day is to improve in something. Basically, improve in every aspect in a small way, whether it be thinking about it and progressing in how I thought about it, or just actively putting in the work and making 5 more pairs of pants in 3 weeks, or just giving myself goals. That's another thing. As a creative, give yourself goals. Like, give yourself goals that you can attain in 2 months. Give yourself a goal you can finish in a week, a year, 5 years, 10 years, whatever it is. Just give yourself goals so that you have like a deadline or something to like
work towards,
and have like milestones that you can easily say, I've done this, I've done that. When it's time to come for a job interview or certain things, you can say, hey, I was able to do certain things, and these things is what I've been working on. This is what I've been doing for the past 5 months. These goals are certain things that you have accomplished. So yeah, I'm going to be making clothes. You can expect from the brand a website. You can expect from the brand just a lot more clothes, more merchandise, being more consistent, and you can expect good content.
Okay. I'm excited. Content. That's exciting. Okay. So, if you could give one piece of advice.
Everything is based off of perspective. Just like we said.
We say that all the time. I have a sticky note on my desk. Like,
hey, you funny.
It's true.
Facts. No, facts. And again, like, not even to get deep on it. An L is not an L, it's a lesson, because you change your perspective and you thought about it and you were able to see it from a different perspective, which was like, hey, this might have gone bad in X, Y, and Z ways, but I was able to get a new perspective. I was able to learn something. I was able to try something new that you know what I mean? There's just a million different things of just what can come out of something when you just see it from a better or a different perspective. It doesn't mean better, but it's just a different perspective. And that's why it's good to have people around you that support you that have a different perspective. Facts. So I would say that definitely find somebody, but genuinely and naturally, that has a different perspective, so that when you're in times and your teeth aren't brushed, they can tell you your breath smells bad.
In the nicest way.
Or things like that. Like, you have to have somebody in there that's not going to just gas your head and tell you this is good and this is, have people that are telling you, no, this is horrible. And then don't take it offensively. That's just criticism. Ask them, hey, nah, some people do things we mean, but that's, again, perspective. You're telling me it looks horribly.
That's a whole nother conversation.
That's a whole nother conversation. But no, seriously, that's all based off perspective, because that person is probably going to give you a lot of constructive criticism about how they would change it. Doesn't mean it's the right thing. Doesn't mean it's wrong. That's somebody's perspective.
But with that, you have to learn to speak to people in a way that they'll receive it. You can't just like constructively criticize someone and then you have to know how to like speak to people in a way that's important. You have to know how to speak to people in a way that they're going to receive it. Because if you're just saying it and you're saying it from a great place, it doesn't matter because they're not receiving it.
True.
So I think that's like an important tidbit to add on to what you just said. Because a lot of people are like, I'm like, that's how it works, but you should be mindful of.
Wisdom from CP.
I'm CP. Just, I don't know if everybody, you call me that. I'm like, I don't know if they know that I'm Christian here.
No, that's definitely wisdom. That's actually very, very a good point to add in there. Thank you, CP.
Of course. So is that it? You got anything else to add?
No, I'm signing out on this episode.
Do you have like social media where they can follow you?
I have Instagram, The Official Black Farmer. You can just follow me on that one, and I will keep everybody updated on the website and everything else.
Okay. So that's going to be it for this episode, guys. Thank you for tuning in. I hope that y'all got some good gems, and because I think you dropped some real good stuff on this episode. So until next time, thank you. Here at Revision Marketing Group, our team of young professionals get it. Created with youth in mind, we strive to educate, inspire, and promote authentic creativity across all job fields. This is Young Creatives.